I started on YouTube a year ago this week, and today I'm going to tell you all about how that decision has changed my life. Do you want to go for a run, girl? Let's go. Welcome to the woods. Today I am in one of my very favorite places, which is sitting in the sun in the woods, really anywhere, but in particular in the northwest corner of the USA near Seattle, Washington. And I'm going to tell you about what is quickly becoming one of my very favorite things: filming myself cooking, editing those videos, and uploading them to dozens, sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands, of random strangers on the internet. It feels weird even saying that, but it's been 1 year since I pushed record and then pushed publish on my very first YouTube video, and I've learned a lot along the way, and I'm going to share some of that with you today. I will tell you why I started and what I expected or really didn't expect, what I've accomplished along the way. I'll give you some stats for all the data nerds out there, what I've learned, and some tips for growth that have helped me and I think will continue to help me. And I even have one that is very controversial that I probably shouldn't mention, but I'm going to anyway. So I hope you'll stick around. Let's get into it. So to understand a little bit more about why I started on YouTube and what I expected, I think it's important to understand a little bit more about me. And that goes back to being a born and bred Montana farm kid. I was raised in the northwest corner of Montana, which to this day remains one of my very favorite places. And I find talking to other Montanans that you can't really separate the person from the place. Although I've lived in the Pacific Northwest for 20 years now, Montana really defines a lot of who I am. What that means is that I love the outdoors, obviously. It means that I worked hard growing up and had great role models of parents who were incredibly hard workers. And it also means that I like the struggle. And I have always picked things that are somewhat of a struggle. I picked a career where I help companies grow, and that means that my clients change and my coworkers change and my assignments change really frequently, sometimes as frequently as every couple months. And I love that. Part of that I love the most is when it's new and when it's exciting and when I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. And also key to my personality is that I get bored quickly. Enter YouTube. I started YouTube not knowing anything about filming, editing, being on camera, audio, angles, cameras, shutter stops. I mean, is shutter stop even a thing? That tells you how little I still know. But I knew that I consumed a lot of YouTube content, and I always wondered if I could do it myself. It felt really unapproachable and like something I would never be able to do. And because of that, I decided to do it. That is as far as my thinking went. I remember thinking, if all of these people can do it, I surely should be able to learn how to do it. And so I did. I taught myself how to edit. I taught myself how to film. I find that people, especially people of a certain age, the older that we get, the more afraid we are to try new things. And because that brings me such joy in my life, learning and growing and trying new things, I wanted to try to make that feel more approachable to people. And one of my greatest loves is food and cooking. I grew up with a mom who loved to garden and cook and a dad who loved to eat. And therefore, I love to do all of those things. And I thought, if I can share my lack of fear around learning and trying and doing new things with a whole bunch of people that might be a little bit afraid, or a whole bunch of people that maybe just want to learn how to cook, I thought if I could share those things, that I might have something special. While there are thousands of people that are doing what I'm doing on the internet, and while no matter how hard I try, I'm not doing anything particularly unique, I do believe that my unfair advantage is that I love a struggle. I love to learn, and I love to try to make other people experience the joy when I do those things too. So what did I expect when I started on YouTube? Literally, I had zero expectations. I don't even think I thought far enough to think what it would feel like once I'd published my first video. I didn't tell anyone about YouTube for weeks, and I didn't plan to tell anyone about YouTube for months. And I was found out pretty traumatically for me, but the trauma lasted about 24 hours, and it was the best learning experience that I could have had. Somehow someone in my extended network in the Seattle area came across one of my videos, which to me is shocking because at that point I maybe had 5 subscribers and like dozens of views. And it got spread to people that I knew, and I was embarrassed because I was new and it wasn't perfect. And as I already explained to you, I didn't know how to film or edit or talk on a camera. I did know how to cook, so I was okay with that. Felt like being shoved out into a really tiny spotlight in a way that I was not ready for. Feelings of existential dread and what the hell was I doing starting something like this in the first place, and embarrassment and shame and a little bit of guilt to have kind of a frivolous hobby. And then I realized that's the kind of person I want to be, the one that takes risks and does things that scare me, and there's no reason to be ashamed of that. Even though it's not perfect and maybe cringy and maybe embarrassing, who cares? Who cares? I'm having fun with it. And I have built such an amazing and engaged community of people that I have never met as a human. They have no stake in my life, but they continue to leave positive comments and encouragement And friends in my real life now that know about my YouTube channel continue to leave positive comments and encouragement and give me feedback. What a blessing that is. Like, how thankful am I that I took the risk to do that, because I have reaped such great rewards from what initially felt like a very traumatic, silly, frivolous decision. It's really changed my life. I've had so much fun doing it, and while I still don't broadcast in my professional circle broadly that I do this, I'm still facing some of those demons. I'm really proud of it, and I think the main reason I'm proud of it is because of you who watch and engage. That's so, so cool. But more on that in a minute. So why did I start and what did I expect? I had zero expectations. I had no plan, and I started because I thought that maybe I couldn't, and I wanted to prove myself wrong. So what have I accomplished in this first year? I'm going to drop some data for those of you that are interested in data. So I make two general types of videos. The first is in my home kitchen, making tutorials or experiments or testing and developing new recipes or trying to recreate things from restaurants or cooking through a cookbook. And I do a lot of talking and try to infuse some of the things that I have learned along the way. And the second type of video that I do is out in the middle of the forest, cooking over open fire, usually in cast iron, usually burning myself along the way, where I'm not talking. It's just the sound of nature and me and Bella the dog cooking delicious and usually pretty simple food. Since I started, I've published a video every single day. For the first 2 months, I published 2 shorts a day and a long form video every other day without fail. And then for the remainder of the year, I have published at least 1 short a day and then a long form video Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I have not yet missed an upload day. And the reason I did it that way is because I really wanted to get the reps in. For someone who doesn't know anything about filming and editing and uploading and has no community off of which to base the types of videos that will perform well, I knew that repetition and practice was the thing that would serve me the best. And so while it was an incredible amount of work, over the last year I published a total of 667 videos, 501 shorts, and this will be my 166th long form video. And all that means, if that terminology is not familiar, shorts are 3 minutes or less, usually little snippets of things, and long form videos are as long as you want them to be. Some are days long. But what's interesting that I didn't know is that they attract very different audiences. So my shorts viewers do not overlap with my long form viewers. So as of the recording of this video, I have 4,841 subscribers, most of those gained from shorts, and that is wild to me. Almost 5,000 people would want to watch me talk on camera. It still blows my mind, and I'm so thankful for that number. That progress is a lot slower than some people. It's a lot faster than some people. I don't really care. It's a beautiful community of folks that I am really proud to be a part of. I have had 2.29 million views on my content. If you think about over 2 million views on your content, that is wild to me. My imposter syndrome kicks up a little bit, and it makes me a little bit nervous knowing how many people that is. But in the scheme of things, I am a tiny little YouTube channel, and I very well know that. But for someone who doesn't have any background in this, the whole experience has just been a little bit flabbergasting, to use an old school word. It's been beautiful and scary and flabbergasting all in one. I've gotten monetized, which is super, super exciting. That's just happened in the last couple of months. And while I have made a tiny little bit of money on YouTube, honestly, that is absolutely not the reason I'm doing this. Maybe it will turn into something in the future, but right now, with the amount of money I've made, if I run into you on the street and we have a coffee, I could buy both of us a coffee from my YouTube earnings. And I know coffee is getting expensive these days, but if you think about the time that I've put into this hobby, I'm really not doing it for the money. So just some rapid fire stats. If you look back, my first video that I published was a lemon cake video. It was 35 minutes long. It took me a week to edit. It was incredibly cringy. I have a lot to learn, but that cake was absolutely delicious. And if you're looking for a lemon cake recipe, try that lemony lemon cake. So my best performing videos on my long form content, I have 1 video over 10,000 views, and that is 100% because of the thumbnail. It is one of the first steak cooking videos that I did. I cooked a ribeye in my outdoor kitchen, and that was a beautiful thumbnail. I was able to take a screen grab of a beautifully browned, crusty ribeye over open fire, and I get it. That would appeal to me. I would click on that thumbnail. My best long form video is just under 3,000 views, and it was the video of me wrapping a turkey in puff pastry a la Martha Stewart. That one did well, I think, because no one had done it at that point. You couldn't find a single video on the internet wrapping a turkey in puff pastry the way that Martha Stewart had recommended. That was right at the time that her documentary came out, and there was a tiny little snippet in the beginning of that documentary of the most ridiculous turkey ever, and so I recreated it. It was fun, and I will never do it again, but that video performed really well, I think because I caught a wave and I was the first one to do it. My best performing short along those lines has 44,000 views, and that is the short that I made from that long form Martha Stewart video. I think the short did well because, again, no one had done it. It was ridiculous, and you can tell that I'm kind of having fun at my own expense in that short, and people seem to like that. I've found that if you fall or drop something or generally do something stupid, the internet responds well. So that is a good tip that I've taken away. My worst performing video, I have several. I have lots of videos that have gotten just dozens of views. And while I'm not any less proud of those, I do reflect on those often to try to figure out both what I could do differently in the future. Was it the topic? Was it the thumbnail? Was it me in the video? Was it the time at which I published it? There's so many things that go into what make a video perform well. And those are probably my biggest learning experiences. The video that took me the longest took me 3 days, and it was a croquembouche video. A croquembouche is a pastry tower that involves all sorts of pretty complicated techniques, and that one was so much fun. I love a big challenge like that, and the fact that it actually kind of turned out was just unbelievable to me. So overall, in reflection on my accomplishments and statistics from the first year, I got a lot of reps in. So much fun to be learning new things all day, every day when I'm thinking about YouTube, and it's a great creative outlet for my brain that I don't have in my day job that I've been doing for 20 plus years. So it's a really nice change of pace for me, and I'm just thrilled with what I've accomplished over the first year. So let's talk about some things that I've learned on YouTube, and there are a lot of them, but I'll distill them down to a couple main points. The first is, and a lot of creators will tell you this, community is such an amazing and powerful thing, and that absolutely shocked me. Nice commenters and people that engage with your videos can literally make your day and your week. Even if I get 5 views on a video and someone leaves a nice comment, it was all completely worth it. And conversely to that, negative comments are so easy to focus on, and the first few that I got created in me this overwhelming fear and flight response of, I cannot believe I am not worthy of this person's positive feedback, and why do I think I have any right to be here? And questioning really all of my life decisions, which doesn't happen for me very often, but the first few negative comments, it did. And then I thought a lot about that. There's 2 things that happen. One, your brain gets a very specific type of hit from a negative comment that even if you have 1,000 positive comments, the negative one is the one that you will always remember. And so because of that, and to counter it, I learned the second thing, which is really to understand where those commenters are coming from. I realize that there are some really sad and hurt people in the world these days, and they are making negative comments both just to hurt people, but also because they themselves are hurt. Usually when I'm reflecting on negative comments, I'm thinking how hurt I would have to be as a human to take the time out of my day to purposefully drag someone down. And if you are the type of person that does that, there's some big self-reflection that is necessary in your life. Don't be that type of person. There's no reason for it. I understand constructive feedback and I understand constructive criticism. There's a way to do that, and then there's a way just to be a mean and nasty human. And honestly, if you are that person, it hurts you more than it hurts anybody else. When someone leaves a nasty comment on a video of mine, now I think 2 things. One, they're a young kid who doesn't understand the implications of their words and were likely raised on the internet when anonymity and hiding behind a keyboard is very common, and they haven't perhaps ever put themselves out there to understand what it's like to receive that type of feedback. That's thing 1 that I think. And thing 2 that I think is it's got to be some troll of a middle-aged man living in his parents' basement who is really unhappy with his life. And judge me if you will about those 2 personas. I would guess that I'm probably pretty right about both of them. But the reality is it doesn't matter what gender you are, how old you are. I think that hurt people hurt people. I totally believe in that. And I guess I just wish for those people that they find some healing in themselves or outside of themselves, and they learn that the way to take their sadness and anger and fear out is not to leave comments from random people on the internet, because who am I to get your negative feedback? I'm not going to engage. And honestly, the times that I have engaged with folks to either maybe correct a misconception or explain myself a little bit more, or even to apologize for publishing something that was incorrect, almost never do the negative commenters respond. And when people do respond to my feedback on negative comments, it's usually just generally a miscommunication. They said something that I maybe didn't interpret appropriately. We had a great back and forth. We hugged it out, and they were perhaps what I thought was a negative comment turned into a really positive interaction. So yeah, I was very surprised about the negativity and positivity and how much both of those things could impact me as a creator. Negativity really doesn't bother me anymore. You can say whatever you want about me personally, or the food that I cook, or the way that I look, or the way that I make videos. Who cares? I really don't care about your opinion. Those of you who are leaving positive comments, however, there are about 5 or 6 people who really over the last year stand out to me as folks who have left such positive, kind, engaging comments both with constructive criticism and just general positivity. And they have made such a difference that I know their usernames in my head. That's how frequently they're leaving sweet comments for me. I'm going to put up their profile pictures here, but those people are James Shinky, Janet P., the boy formerly known as the Boy in Purple, Bear Paws, Mark's Tube World, Lemon. There are so many of you that have left really positive, kind feedback and that continue to engage with me. It has meant the world to me. I don't think you'll ever understand how much it means. It is such a beautiful thing and just the start of what I believe can continue to be a really beautiful community. Another thing that I learned on the technical front is that it's a little bit harder than I expected it to be. Filming and editing is one thing that is an art, and while I have approached it like a student of the arts, I am by no means perfect at filming and editing, and technical prowess takes time and practice. But I guess my tip for you there is just start. Don't panic about it. It will never be perfect. The only way to get better is to get the reps in. So just start. And by the way, if you haven't heard, YouTube is an amazing source for educational content about how to film and edit and the software to use and the equipment to use. So go to YouTube. If you've never heard of YouTube, get out there and look at YouTube videos. I learned everything I know about technically filming YouTube videos from YouTube. I've also learned a couple things that are really hard, and that is, one, photographing food is incredibly hard. Like, how do you translate how good something smells and sounds and tastes in a picture? It's incredibly hard, and I'm still pretty horrible at it. Sometimes I'll have a good photo or two, but generally I've got a lot of improvement to do there. And then thumbnails are also very hard. I think cooking channels in particular have a unique challenge because there is very specifically a topic in our videos, and that is the recipe that we're making or the food that we're talking about. And the reality is you can only make some foods look so attractive. Two more tips for you. My most controversial is still forthcoming, but one of them is around things that surprised me. And I guess my tip for you here is being open to being surprised. I really didn't expect to be as surprised as frequently as I was in this journey, but every day something surprises me. A couple notable ones are failures are sometimes just as much fun as successes. Sometimes the times that I failed or dropped something or tripped in my kitchen, I don't know, I have a great ability to laugh at myself these days. I think that it's hard not to compare yourself to other people, but there's no reason to. I have had a faster journey than some people and a slower journey than others. There have been folks that have gained, thousands or hundreds of thousands of subscribers in a week that have been monetized overnight. And there are folks that have been at this for 10 years that are still not at 1,000 subscribers and still not monetized. And strangely, those folks in the latter group, the ones that have just been struggling and grinding, are the ones that inspire me most. I am not super inspired by a viral video that someone... What is it, Belly? Where is it? Oh, get him. Put him up, Belly. Had to slightly shift my location. I just got stumbled upon by some elk in the forest. And while they are completely harmless, it still is a little bit unsettling to be in the middle of nowhere and have a large animal come crashing through the forest at you. And the final thing that surprised me that may be a tip for life for me going forward, and perhaps you can take some inspiration from too, is that for me, creativity turns off anxiety. I cannot be anxious when I'm being creative. Conversely, I cannot be creative when I'm being anxious. So to get in a good, positive, creative headspace, I really have to focus on releasing the fear and the worry and the anxiety that I think comes to all of us from living in the world today. It's funny, for a long time, I worked in an industry where there were folks that were considered creatives with a big C. Like, some folks were creatives and the rest of us were not. And I think that is complete and utter bullshit these days. I think everyone can be a creative. You just have to find the thing at which you want to be creative and you enjoy being creative and you're passionate about being creative. Everyone's got it. We're all human. We all have the capacity to be creative. And if you are trying to find your creativity, maybe think a little bit about where your anxiety lies and your fear and your shame. Turning those things off, you never know. You may really tap into and turn on your creativity. That's what I found, at least. I hope you find the same thing. And then finally, my most controversial tip before I get into plans for the future is I truly believe that YouTube is a scam. I'm actually not kidding when I say that. What other job or occupation or vocation do you have that you don't truly know what is required to be successful? In the world of YouTube, you are beholden to an algorithm, which no one really knows the formula behind that algorithm. While we all have a ton of data, there's really no specific way to pinpoint what will do well, what will perform well, have lots of views and engagement, and what will perform horribly. There is a ton of advice out there around how to beat the algorithm, how to play to the algorithm, what the algorithm means, but the reality is no one really knows. Some people definitely are better at it than others. The top 10 YouTubers in the world, of course, I believe strongly that part of that is timing, but also part of that is understanding this mysterious algorithm. For those folks that make this their career, to not really know how to be successful and just to continue trying and trying and trying until you end up successful or not, what a scam. Now I'm completely feeding into it because it really drives me to figure it out. I love to solve a mystery and I love a challenge, but truly YouTube is a scam and I will stand behind that. You have to let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with me. My focus will be continuing to build community and understand better the people that are interested in my videos and watch the type of content that I make. That is the way to get around the scammy algorithm that is YouTube, to better focus on my customer or my community or the friends that I'm making via this YouTube channel, and to try to build content that I enjoy making that also caters to solving problems that they have or providing entertainment to those folks. As I've spent the last 10 minutes telling you, I've learned so much and I enjoy it so much that it's a scam that I'm okay getting scammed by. So what's next for me in this YouTube channel, and am I done? You won't be surprised to hear that no, that is not the case. I'm gonna keep going. I really love it. I'm surprised that I love it so much, but I will likely change my pace. 3 videos a week is a lot, and I don't think I can keep that up and still maintain a social life and an actual job. So I'll likely try to make better videos, make fewer of them, but make videos that better solve your problems and address your questions and build an engaged community. Part of that first is understanding your feedback, understanding what you want to see, what you're interested in. So please leave those things in the comments down below. Keep the conversation going. And I think the second part of that is to maintain, I guess what I'd call a relentless focus on positivity and authenticity and kindness. I don't want this to turn into a negative place. So many parts of the internet are really negative. I just don't have any time for that. So you can expect to see me continue engaging in a positive way, trying to ignore those negative comments. There is no place for them on this channel, unless it's constructive criticism. I'm all for that. I can commit to you that this will continue to be a positive, uplifting, experimental, joyful, hopefully inspiring, maybe funny, and just generally fun place to exist on the internet, and I hope you'll continue building it with me. Thank you for listening to me today. Thank you for spending the day with me in what is an incredibly beautiful place with a very happy little dog, if you can see her in the background. I really am looking forward to what's to come, and really, truly, thank you. I am just blown away by the support and the kindness and this thing that we're building. I think it's pretty cool, and I hope to continue building it and being a good representation of you. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Cheers.